Hey-o.
Oh, hello. Okay, so what the fuck is happening
What
out
the fuck?
there? What the
What
fuck?
the fuck?
Children, don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, this is not for you. This is a what the fuck podcast on all the
It's
things
Friday
real.
afternoon. It's Good Friday.
Yeah.
And if it were Good Friday, I think the financial system would have kind of shifted and changed all on its very middle loan. But I'm still waiting for that to happen. What's happening? What do you see that's going on right now?
Right. Well, I'm gonna kind of turn that around because you've been working the cards,
Oh my
and I
God,
want
I
you to
really
express
have.
that piece, and then I'm gonna just go follow that energetic line with what's happening in my realm.
Well, the cards have been pretty consistent about like the end of this week that there was some really big energy. And that's why I was like, Z, let's do a show Friday afternoon. Let's get together and talk. Because I was like super envisioning that I would be on this podcast and I would look at my phone and there would be an alert and my bank balance would shift and change. Well, we're kidding. So you never know. It can still happen. But the cards have been kind of saying, be prepared for a really big shift in energy.
Yep, yep. I would say that is the case from my side. So
Well, I was actually okay, and I'll be totally transparent. Like I had been following XRP,
yeah,
and I've
of
been
course.
following the story of XRP for the past couple of weeks. And they announced that they're doing something with Swift with the banking system. So it's like basically going from analog to digital in the banking system. That's how profound this shift is of this partnership. And I was
Yep.
really kind of anticipating seeing like a change in the value of XRP today. That's what I was forecasting. That's kind of what I saw in the cards, to be honest with you. So
Okay.
that's what I'm still looking to
Okay.
see if that manifests as well.
All right. All right. Well, I haven't checked on that today. So I'm sure you have.
Well, yeah, I checked on it earlier. It still said that there's momentum behind it, but I mean, it's hard to pinpoint an exact, hour or
Right.
number or
Time
anything along
point.
those lines.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the universe doesn't exactly work on that pinpoint because it always shifts as soon as you observe it, if that makes sense.
It does. It completely does. It's called the Hawthorne effect. It's a person
Huh.
changes its behavior when it's being observed. And I can only
Exactly.
imagine person, energy, whatever thing that you're looking at, which is why I feel like the manifestation game is a really interesting one that I kind of need some reminders in terms of how to do it really well because I hold on to things so tightly that I don't let
Right.
it go so it can actually manifest. It's the stuff I don't care about that I can manifest really easily.
Right. Manifestation is such that the perspection distortion that humans have had on it have created more of a like an inward like exploding effect and it's just so I'm going to say right now from my perspective it's been distorted. Like even if you feel into the word manifestation, what's literally the first thing that comes up for you?
Man,
Okay, right? What is the right? But right.
I'm trying
So
to manifest that too.
what the fuck?
What the fuck? It's Friday.
It's Friday. It's a what the fuck Friday, okay?
It kind of is.
So yeah. Manifestation. Okay,
Yes.
what is if you break that down, really, my feeling of it?
Infestation sounds like bugs.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you put the man in front of it and it feels like it's got some religious perspective on it or some distorted piece.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I hadn't seen it from that perspective before.
It's a perspective. That's my feeling. It's like a very outside, like appearing like we're gonna manifest. We're gonna do the Lord's work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I just thought manifestation was more of sort of like a new age term. Like we're going to manifest having a great day today and let's all get our positive intentions. Like I always thought that that was more of like an inner job, inner journey.
Right. Right. Which is how it's perceived. But if we're looking at how we've shifted into a new parameter of frequency, where we're our own creators, like why are we needing to manifest when we're generators?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so why would we need to manifest? Because I don't, there's an element of disbelief that's there. Because
Right.
if you
Right.
already assumed, like you know that you know that you know, you wouldn't have to put any effort into it because it's already done.
Right. Right. So where's the dissonance in that messaging right there?
Well, the dissonance is it's sort of like hopium. Like I want something to come out, which means I'm attached to an outcome, but
Right.
don't necessarily fully believe it's true.
Believe it's gonna come.
Yeah.
Right. That's essentially what I feel in this parameter of manifestation right now.
I think that's some of my energy I put out there. I'm sorry about that.
Oh my god, it was all you!
I knew it. I knew it.
You did it!
Sorry.
What the
But I just
fuck?
but I just want to manifest this stuff so badly. And so, like, and that's what happens when you hold on to something so freaking tightly
Right.
that you almost like crush it. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are trying to manifest, and I'm using the financial system to say because there's a lot of people that are focused on that right now. There's so much
Right, of
energy
course.
on it
Yep. Yep.
that there's momentum behind it. We're all putting it out there pre-paving, like if you use Esther Hicks,
Yep.
Abraham Hicks, it was like you're putting it into the vortex, you're putting it out there to create. So I think there's a lot of energy and momentum creating, but we're just holding on to it too tight.
Yeah, it's just kind of like moving around the field because we're like, oh no, like we know it's coming, right? We keep telling ourselves we know it's coming, we know it's here,
Right.
and we hold on to it, and then we sit in waiting energy for a period of time, and they kind of clash up against each other.
Yes.
Okay.
So how do we get out of that clash?
I'm going to say, from my perspective, the biggest thing is knowing yourself and your energy enough to just be in alignment. Okay. And if I talk about alignment and what that feels like is my soul and my body in the right place and time where I'm feeling excitement about what I'm doing, I'm feeling at ease, things are happening with flow, I can rest, I don't have to hustle. Okay, the parameters around that is starting to shift, and I have to say over this last week that's where I've heard over and over, this is your financial year. Okay, this is happening this year.
Yeah.
Okay, every single day, like pop in over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that look like? And I keep hearing all you need to ask yourself is how do I best receive? Because we're all in here like in this spiritual realm going like, how can I be a service? How can I
Because
like can you
we're human doers, not human beings. We're human doers. We're so
exactly.
trained to be the doer.
Exactly. We're giving our force away. We're giving it away where we could be using it to be in our sovereignty and our full alignment to be like, well, how can I best receive while I'm in alignment? That's all I have to do. Does
Yeah.
that mean right now for me this whole last week was okay, I've got stuff that I'm good to let go of. I'm gonna do that every single day. I'm gonna allow myself and my body to feel what it's like in alignment, which means some days do nothing.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, like literally sit back, take a nap, realize that you're in flow with things because there's no time, right? There's literally no time in any of these spaces that we're working now because the frequency has shifted.
Yeah.
So is that
Yeah.
construct?
Well, I love that of being able to give yourself a break. That for sure, I think is helping in manifesting, which I can't unhear manifesting as an infestation of something, like an unwanting of something. Like I feel like
Interesting.
we almost need to now think of it as a different word or change our language
Agreed.
because
Agreed.
language and spell casting, like that stuff is so powerful. We don't even realize what we're
Potent.
saying half the time.
It's potent. And I want to just bring that in and circle that as a golden nugget of anything that you speak is a direct frequency of self.
Uh-huh.
Anything that you speak. And if you speak it and you're feeling like it feels like an infestation, well, that's not the vibrational frequency you want to be at, right?
No, that feels icky to me.
Yeah, it does. For me, Matt, the word manifestation in of itself feels icky. It just does not work with me. I'm like, no, it's been perceived, it's been shifted. Now we're shifting our resonance into a higher frequency. And I'm like, that word just doesn't belong. I don't feel like, for me, that's my perspective. It just doesn't belong. I'm going to go with I'm going to be in alignment with flow.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I can get behind that. Excuse me. So and going with the flow,
Hmm.
yeah, I can get behind that because that's just sort of the next step where you need to go
Right.
anyways. Like no matter what, you're always going to be moving forward. And so having the things that you desire in your life kind of I don't know if it's pre-paving the path. So it's sort of,
Right.
like when you're sledding and you go down a hill, but you're going down a sled track that someone already sled before you. So there's kind of grooves. It's not fresh powder. It's sort
Right.
of like
Right.
already
Of
grooved.
course.
So you actually go
Yep.
down a little bit faster. To me, that's like that pre-paving work of putting that thought before your intention and your action. So that way it has
Yep.
that groove already channeled for you to move faster and quicker without resistance.
Right. Right. Without the resistance is what I want to kind of put in there. It's again, it's going with that flow piece. And honestly, we've all come down with that pre-paved pathway. Like we've all had our contracts in this particular time and space to be
Uh-huh.
fully sovereign and receive what we were already born with, which is our abundance.
Okay, so I want to double click on that for a second before
Yeah.
we go back because I've actually really struggled with this in my lifetime of free will versus destiny. And
Okay. Yeah.
like we have these thoughts in our heads and we believe
Right.
it as fact because it's something that we have in our mind and in our head.
Right.
How much of this is actually original thought versus sort of it was programmed that when we were in this instance, this situation, this person, this whatever, that we were going to already have this thought to move us down. And I'll even use that same snowplow analogy of that already pre-paved path. And maybe that's why certain things feel so smooth, not because we did such a great job manifesting with an infestation, which I can't hear that word anymore, but like because we were supposed to.
Right. Right. Well, again, we're going to go back to that double slitted experiment here is when we observe it, things shift. Right. I'm
So,
just going to
and
bring that back into the space because this is all going to be about perspective.
okay, I like this because I observe with the cards a lot. And
Uh
I know
huh.
the
Yep.
cards get mad at me sometimes. Like I'll have like I'll look at a particular house that I'm really
Uh huh.
interested in. And it'll
Yep.
be like, yes, yes, yes. And all of a sudden it's like, hell no. And I'm like, what just happened between 5 minutes ago when I asked, and now? Not that I'm obsessing over it or anything, or I need that
Right.
validation. Of course, I need that validation because I somewhere in the back of my mind, I don't believe it's real, or I haven't really quite, I don't know. I can't quite attached to the feeling that it's already here in my present when I haven't
Right.
had that material creation of it yet. So
Right.
um, it feels hard for me. And so going back to the double slit experiment, which
Yep.
from What the Bleep movie, which I think is so brilliant. I love
Yep.
it.
It is, guys. It's
But
great.
maybe when I'm doing the cards too many times on a certain subject, it's maybe that's also shifting the energy. And in that moment, it
Right.
genuinely is a no. Or the cards are saying, stop asking so many times in one day.
Right. 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 Well, in understanding the quantum universe, you're every time you put the cards out, you're making an infinite amount of those timelines and parallels for that particular moment in time, anytime. Because there's so if we're looking at the quantum realm there's it's infinite. There's so much of it that you can throw out there, and every little tiny line or possibility gets thrown out every single time. So in one moment that's a yes, in the next moment, however, in that particular moment it probably pulls from parallels where that lineup is a no. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does. And so we have to be really careful with our thoughts in terms
Very.
of the timeline that we wish to be a part of, because if there is a no, it doesn't mean it's a no forever. It just means it's a
Right.
no in that particular instance or in that
Exactly.
parallel reality. So
Exactly.
I think the game is really shifting to if there's an infinite number of outcomes, how do we get ourselves shifted to the parallel where the outcome matches our desire?
Right, right, right. Well, from my perspective, again, I'm going to go back into I'm not going to be so focused on that particular outcome at all. This is what I'm looking to have in my reality. And also, if I get too direct, too particular, and this is different per person, then I'm going to be watching those lines so closely that, again, double slit experiment, it's going to change the observational field.
Well, and also sometimes no is really a gift from God, like a
Oh, totally.
yes for something bigger, which we can't always see. Like there's been
Right, right, right.
relationships where I'm like, why was that a no? Well, because there's something bigger, or a job. Why was that
Exactly.
a no? Because there's something bigger. And
Yep, yep.
you know, like that's hard. And I think that's why you've got to have that the no expectation
No
outcome,
expectation, no attachment to it.
no attachment.
And that's almost to everything. Like with those relationships, with those jobs, our emotional body gets kind of trapped in that and going,
Okay.
"Come on, I really come on, that I really wanted that one." And yet, if
Yeah.
we were able to surrender to that piece and go, yeah, okay, that wasn't the right one for me. So I have something greater in my pathway, that's a plus.
So it's almost like I have to change, or not me personally, but like everybody, we all have to change the metrics of how we score the game. Because
Exactly.
what does success look like? Well, it looks like the outcome naturally I have in my head of exactly
Right.
where I need to be. And if it's any slight deviation from that, it's a no or it's a loss, as
Right.
opposed to it's what we have in our head could be a milestone. And it's really about how we feel about things as we move down the path. Does this feel good or no? If yes, it's like a
Right.
choose your own adventure book.
It
So going
is
down the path
exactly
that
what it
chooses
is.
that feels good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what feels like is, again, I'm going to go back to excitement here because if we're talking about frequency, excitement is excited atoms. Okay. The more
Oh,
that we get
yeah.
those excited, the higher vibrational frequency we get to. Okay. And we
Yeah.
want to be on our highest vibrational frequency or the highest and best for us because that's going to lead us to more pathways that is going to lead us to even more of that. Right. That's how we increase our vibrational frequency. So to be able to tell the self and the mind and the body that, oh, that one didn't work for me, and not to get into the emotional constructs of like guilt, shame. It was this person, victimization, and you go, oh, just not the right one. Then I've got something better. Okay, then you're going to keep taking that step into what feels exciting for me, what feels good to my body. That's another thing. Our bodies have shifted so much to hold our soul's perspective that they're really loud right now. And I know for me myself, it's like that is a fucking no. That is, I will not take anything less than my value. So get out of my way,
Yeah,
okay?
I love that, by the way, and bravo for you for doing that and choosing yourself first because that's so
Absolutely.
important. I think that's such a big lesson for people to learn.
Oh, totally, totally. And another thing of that lesson that comes through there is, do you have the ability to detach yourself from that piece? If you know it's not good for you, you know it's not taking you down a route you want to go. Can you say, nope, that is not for my highest path. I'm going to shift out of that. That might mean no communication with anybody ever again, you know? That might mean you shift to a new place,
Woo!
right? That actually has people who are more of an influential co-creator for you.
Yeah.
Can you just say no, that's not going to work for me, and yes, this is more exciting for me, and yes, there is something better for me here, and yes, I'm already a generator. Okay, so going back into that unknown space because it can feel like a bit of a void as you're like letting go of these spaces and you're like, I don't know what's gonna when it's gonna, and that's what confuse the body. If you're in that little bit of a voidy space, bringing in curiosity about, ooh, well, something better is coming then. So until then, until I sit and I sit with this energy of the unknown, I'm going to be curious about it. And I'm going to take a little break and I'm going to hear in my body action steps that I can take to be more excited or to take a step. And that is going to be out of fucking hustle culture.
And I'll even say one thing to add to that. When you say, I want to manifest this, but I also want to manifest that, and they're different, but like, like let's use a house, for example. Let's say
Sure.
I want to move
Yep.
into this house, but I
Yep.
also really like this house. And so I want like both houses. And it's like, bitch, you can't live in two places at once. And then all of a sudden, we're trying to manifest both, and then you end up manifesting probably none of it. I don't know.
Right.
Like,
Right. Right.
how does that
Well,
kind of
you get the opposition piece because you're like, I want this and I want that. Now, for me, when I'm not going to call it manifesting, and I'm going to go with
I
flow.
know I'm having a hard time with that word now. It's so crazy.
I'm like, just can't do it. Fuck that. Anyways, if I have two ideas and I'm like, I really want that, and I also want that, and I'm looking at the details of each of those, how can I then alchemize them to my highest one that I do want? Maybe this one features some things that I like, and this one features some things that I like. I'm going to pull from the things that I do like from both aspects and bring it into a higher space, and then let it go. Okay, because I mean, for myself, I'm like, I don't need both things. Like, what am I going to do with that?
Well, and what's coming in is something you have zero awareness of that is actually a combination of both of them.
Of both.
of something
Exactly.
totally new. And you actually helped me with that from work. When you were helping me when I
Uh-huh.
was looking for a new job, I'm like, I really want to work for this old boss of mine who I really, loved working for. But there's this new company that is interviewing me to be the head of
Right.
this thing. And it's
Yep.
really kind of cool. But then there's this other person over here that's working with this bigger company that I used to work with a long time
Right.
ago. And that's really where I want to be. And I had no idea that where you helped shift me was actually something that encompassed all of that in one position, doing
Right.
exactly what I do, getting
Right.
exactly the title. But the old boss is now
Right.
a vendor of ours. The company that wanted to hire me that I thought would be really cool is now one of our customers. And over here, the big company that
Yep.
I worked with for years and years is the one who introduced me, and now we're leveraging their platform as our overall
Right.
infrastructure. And I would never have seen that coming in a million years. So I do know that that is
Yep.
possible.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is a thing. When you put that in your storybook, and again, I see this whole all the universe is a game. It's a game for us to play to create in. So when I say everything was already set out for us, the path was already there, is because everything is there. Everything is already in our fields. And we are choosing per given moment what we want to create, but the juice is there. The Play-Doh's there. We can pull
Yeah,
from any of it. And that's just remembering that we already have that. We already have it, right?
yeah,
So dropping the outcome of that, for example, I moved into a beautiful space with a community that I really, really love. There's lots of people out here. It's really awesome. Now heading into that space, I dropped how that was going to happen because I I was like, nah, I'm not gonna exacto this piece. I'm going to say, here's a piece that I want here and a type of friendship that I want to bring into the space, which would be co creative. I like this dynamic with this person. I want more of that. Okay. Here's the type of space that I'm looking for. I don't need to be exact on that. It's the feel for me. And so
yes.
when I was moving through those feelings, I'm like, no, I want the feeling of this I want more of that. So anytime I teach my body a feeling that it wants, something that's exciting, something that feels very much so in creative space, my body goes, I want more of that universe. Okay. And that's already going to be the attraction point right there. So did it all turn out exactly like it was like in my head? Absolutely not. Better. It turned out better,
That's
right?
awesome. Yeah, I'm so
Because
glad to hear that.
it wasn't the exact people, of course. It was like, no, I want that in my reality, and I want that feels good. I want more of that in my reality, and it's more of the feeling in the space that I want to create in. And it was me just bringing more and more of that in and being able to detach from an outcome and detach from any of the things that I need to get out of my existence in order to do that.
Yes. Well, I'm doing a lot of that purging stuff as well, of getting that
Yep.
stuff out of my reality. And I didn't I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it really is. It's
Uh huh.
actually really easy once you commit to it. And now it's
Yes.
amazing of how easy it is to let go of things that I thought I was going to have a major emotional attachment to.
Right.
So I love that piece of it. And what I'm also getting from this conversation is like, one of the reasons why I really want the financial system so badly, and I'm like hanging on to it for dear life, is because there's a particular kind of house that I want to move into.
Right.
And so I
Yep.
keep thinking, if this thing hits, then I can. If then, I find
Right.
myself in this if then trap a lot under the guise of spiritual manifestation.
Sure.
And I think what I want to do now is just kind of focus after listening to you. I just
Uh
want
huh.
to focus on feeling like how I want to feel in a space and maybe create it totally in my head without it being on Zillow or realtor.com or like a physical actual space that exists,
Right.
rather
Right.
how I want to feel and what I want it to look like and how I want my son to ride his bike and friends coming over
Sure.
and all that kind of stuff and having property around that my dog can roam around and we don't have to be stuck in the house and be outside more. Like that's what I would really love to create. And in my
Right.
mind,
Yep.
that's why I had these two houses because I loved the interior of this one, but I loved the property of that one. And so I was holding on to both of them.
Right. Right.
And I
Yep.
think what I'm going to do is just take like exactly what you said, is just take the bits and pieces of what I like from this one and what I like from that one and create something totally new and see what actually shows up out of that.
Yeah. What's going to show up at the door? And so I would say to my steps of going into flow is if I'm in a space and my body is feeling calm, confident, at ease, I feel like I can create. I have lots of sparks and ideas coming through this space. Whether that's a person or a place, I say, body, this is what I want more of. And my body's going to go, that's it. That's the right feeling. Okay. And then I'm going to drop it. And I keep pulling that from relationships, from work, from the people that I work with. Hey, this is exciting to me. I want more of that. Okay. And that's how I attract the right people into my business. And I'm saying the right people. I don't want a lot. I want the right people. Okay.
Yes,
The ones
exactly.
who are going to be in flow, who's going to be in reciprocity, and that keeps the money flowing. So
Mm,
the more that I do that, the more if my body's at ease and alignment of that flow, the more it gets.
that's good. And when I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, there's so much more that I need to like expand in terms of how I create in my life and what I'm creating and knowing where my limitations are and knowing what I'm good at and where I need more
Right.
practice and being okay with needing more practice in a particular area because that's just where we're going to expand and get better at.
Absolutely.
Instead of expanding in the areas where we're good at everything, like there's also the opportunity to expand in areas where we need to grow.
Right. And that's another big aspect of our expansion cycle, you know. I'm not saying that it's not challenging. It's not like I want the challenge in my system because I know I'm going to grow from it.
Yeah.
It's just that that challenge actually feels exciting to me and I want to grow in that space.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to. And now it's not this process of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to suffer to get to the next fucking step because that's where we're at, right? I'm
Right.
I have to have no, no, no. It's that's going to allow me to expand in a really good way for me where it is with ease and flow and I have dynamics around me who can actually push me into my next step.
Well, and what is your next step? And like, how can I help you? Like, where is it that, because I mean, I look to you like you have all the answers, and I believe that you actually do.
No, no ma'am.
Like, where are you challenging yourself in your life?
Where am I challenging myself?
Yeah,
I would say for me right now is to be, again, out of work hustle and anything that's going to be a doer. I'm out of that space. Into I'd like to have more joy in my existence and I'd like to co-create with people who are wanting to spark new ideas, new creation stories.
yeah.
So for me, that's going to be expansion in my business, and it's going to be something that is so exciting for me that I can't even like it's so exciting. And so I do have new ideas and stuff like that for my business that's really experiential
Yeah.
and is something that is way outside of the box as far as like coursework or something like that. It's just experiential. So that's where I'm heading into my expansion phase, and that for me is sparks co-creation, friendships, because I love our friendship and the dynamic that we have.
Yes, me too.
And
Me too.
honestly, like this is it right here because this is going to spark me into my next step and vice versa for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you've absolutely helped spark that for me because I didn't even know it was possible for me to gain energy from cards and to come up with
Yep.
new ideas. And I know you listened to the podcast that I did on the pyramids, and it is such a different thought process. And I what really lights me up is paradigm shifts to
Yep.
to have something new like the paradigm shift I just had just in this conversation we've been having is about the word manifest. I can never hear the word the same ever again. And I need to
Right.
actually now put myself into shifting out of that word and into something new, which is probably exactly the kick in the ass I kind of needed because manifesting to me is about
Right.
sticking to glue. Like, why didn't it fucking happen this way?
Right.
And
Yep.
and so, I really get sparked by paradigm shifts, new thought,
That's
expansion,
it.
and
That's it.
how do we shift the narrative into something totally different and unique? Like around the pyramids, like maybe I think we
Exactly.
all know it wasn't a tomb, but is a power plant possibly, but is it also a place that brought new souls into this realm? Like that's entirely
Yes.
possible.
And I would have to say yes, from my experience, it did. It was a nice conduit for all kinds of things to come into the space and hold the anchor point.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it is just about changing our narrative. For me, manifestation has like been centered around this lack piece. Like, I don't have it. So you're like, let's
100%.
manifest this. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't have it, bitch. So, like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, that's why the word, that's why people get so disappointed, like when they watch The Secret and it didn't happen. And so for
Right.
me, I was always thinking, well, it's your subconscious programming. You've got something that's a block.
Sure.
And that very well could be true. But what if
Sure.
there's no blocks? What if you've already cleared it all and you still can't manifest to your heart's desire?
Right. Change the narrative, change the
Change the narrative.
perspective. Right? Get a feeling for your energy in your body when you bring up manifestation,
Right.
Like
Right.
it's a ick for me. I'm like, that is not exciting. It's dead to me. So what is exciting? Expansion, flow, sparks of creation, the ability to center myself around I can grow in this, but also work with somebody who is going to spark me into my next set.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And so it's having
So
like friends like our friendship where we can play off of each other. I learned so much from you.
yeah,
I really love that. But I
I
want to be able to,
likewise.
yay, and I want to be a contribution to you too, and like how can I help inspire
Heck
you?
yes. Well, I mean, you already have. You already have. And just talking about this and the way that you format and formulate and the way that you work with tarot. And
Yeah.
honestly, yeah, there's a lot of information that's coming back and forth because of the quantum entanglement we're having right now.
Yeah.
So your information is going to shift through me, and I'm going to go, hey, look, I have another spark here. And also, this is a shift that I need because you create paradigm shifts. This is what I love about you and what I want to continue to feed you in reciprocity is that paradigm shift is super needed right now. Again, like
Yeah.
the shift in the manifestation. I don't hear too many people talking about it like we do right now.
Right.
They're
Right.
obsessed with it.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, that's where I grow and that's where I get super excited. And then like I start shifting
Exactly.
my chair because like that energy, I just can't stay
Exactly.
put. And even like the word, we live on planet Earth. The word planet is plan and it. Like we're planning it
Yep.
as
Yep.
opposed to, I don't know, defaulting it. Otherwise we'd be called defaulted Earth. And
Right.
that's
Right.
not where we
Right.
live.
That's not where we live. So the paradigm shift is what makes me excited to work with you and how I want to keep shifting with you because now we've made the paradigm shift on manifestation,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And it was a big shift.
Yeah.
Okay?
And now when I think of manifestation, I think sledding downhill in something that I don't have control over. I'm just going. Like if you're sledding downhill, you're
Right.
not in control of where you are going every second of the day
Right.
because you're just enjoying that ride. And so now when I think of
Exactly.
manifestation, I'm going to think of that downhill sled ride and just letting go and seeing, and just having fun with the
Along the way.
experience of it.
Exactly. Along the way. And while you're sledding down and you're like, oh my God, there's a candy shop. That feels great. I want more of that in my experience, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit, there's a playground over there with bouncy balls. I'd like more of that in my experience, okay? And by doing that, like you're at pure creation at its heart, the pure quantum field of infinite possibilities. Because that is then going to come into my experience, that feeling again. It might not be the exact same candy,
Yeah.
right? But it's going to be the feeling of it, and then it's going to be more than. It's going to be plus that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, I think there's lots of things that are going to start flowing as a result of this conversation and
agree.
letting go. And what I'm really like feeling right now is I just feel like sort of just this ease in my chest where I don't feel like I
Yes.
have to be so rigid about. I mean, that's kind of how I started this conversation. I was very rigid
Yep.
about things and just kind of tongue in cheek sort of joking of I'm going to do the cards 14 times in a row hoping for a different outcome. I only did it 3 times in a row just so you know it wasn't 14.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but I feel like yeah, I want to just be more smooth and not want. I already am. I'm just I'm just releasing and I'm just letting it go.
Right.
I know how I want to feel about things. And I'm waiting for it to
Absolutely.
catch up with me because I deserve it.
Hells yes, you deserve it. That's that's what I've been telling you from the very beginning, girl.
I know
Yeah.
it only took me
Okay.
a year to figure that out, but that's fine. I'm a work in progress.
We all are. We all are. I will be too. I will be too, because that is how we expand here. Period. Even if I'm off the planet, you better believe it, I'm gonna be a student somewhere going, okay, here's my next level.
Yes, yes. And
So,
from that perspective of expansion, and to be able to then look back at this life and be able to see all the different choices we had in front of us. And gosh, how rigid we were in making certain choices. And now from
right.
that freedom and that experience and that vantage point of being off planet and looking back or looking forward.
Exactly. Going,
Yeah.
hey, oh, look, I did that thing, and look where I'm at now. And also just bringing appreciation for like where we're at this moment. Because you can see like at least for me from last year to this year, I'm like, wow, yeah, that's an entirely different story. Thank God.
You know what? Totally.
Yep.
Totally. And yes, you have had a lot of shifts in your life. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
moved and you've changed your whole life. You've
Oh,
changed your
totally.
hair color into like
I
14 different colors, which looks amazing, by the way.
I just had to do it because every single day I wake up and hey, look, this is my new canvas for today. How do I want to create my own story?
Yeah.
Okay. And how can I best receive right now? Because we're so used to doing and serving, or we're here to serve. The reciprocity is already naturally there. So how do I want to create myself today? Right. And I put that in my canvas for today and see how the story plays out.
Well, and it's interesting because that's how I do the cards when I start the day. Show
Heck
me the
yeah.
true behind the scenes energy of my day today. And really interesting, every once in a while, like it gives me sort of like a, ooh, okay, well, there's a nine of swords that are showing up some concern and some worry. And I'm like, oh, my day will be fine. And sure enough, that does show up. And so it's really nice to kind of prepave your day because you're kind of,
Right.
if you know what you're looking for, you go, oh, I already anticipated that. It's not as big of a deal as I thought
Yeah.
it was going
It's
to
no
be.
worries.
It
Yeah. No
isn't.
worries.
It really
Yep.
isn't. And
It's go ahead.
yeah, yeah, this is good stuff. And I look at how my life has changed over the past year as well. Super vastly different.
Uh-huh.
And but just like you, I mean, like
Yeah.
going through a big move and
Yep.
shifting how business is done and shifting how I'm feeling inside and what I'm
Right.
attracting in my life
Right.
and in my world. And I didn't know you a year ago today.
No. No.
So I'm so grateful that you're in my life and helping, to just be a great friend, be a great mentor, and just have awesome conversations. I just absolutely love our conversations.
Oh heck yeah, yeah, we're smashing it, and also too, I can't tell you how proud I am of you for stepping up into that space, and also your card readings are you're on top of it, and like I just get real excited. That's an excitement for me. So I'm like as much as I'm your mentor, you are mine as well, and I know we get to learn more and more from each other. So
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Yay.
of
Well, we need
course,
to do more of these,
yes, we
please.
do. Paradigm shifts.
Paradigm shifts. That's how we go into Easter. The little Easter bunny's
Exactly.
got a paradigm. Well, there's a big paradigm shift because my son, his belief system has shifted and changed since learning about the secrets behind Santa and the
Oh,
Easter
got
bunny.
it.
So,
Sure.
no
Yep.
spoiler alerts on this channel, but let's just say his perspective is different.
Oh boy. Here we go.
With that, I just love and
All
adore
right.
you so much. So, thank you so much.
Likewise. Yeah, I appreciate you. Bye, guys. We love you.
Love you. Bye.